this just keeps getting crazier for the San Diego Padres. We got to talk about Adrian Morejon being added to the All-Star team. That makes 3 relievers for the San Diego Padres, and that makes what I think is a historic bullpen for the Friars this year. What's going on, everybody? Christian Pedersen back with another episode of Padres Digest. Want to talk to you specifically about Morejon making the All-Star team, but also a little bit about the grandiosity that is our bullpen this year and why I think that that is a big part of why I'm not that worried, even if we have to get in through the wild card, that the Padres can ultimately still be pretty successful in the postseason, even if the offense never fully pulls itself out. Drop a comment as we go on all of this. If you want to hit the subscribe button, it would be much appreciated. If not, no worries. We'll always be here. It's the internet. I'm allowed to just babble. Let's talk specifically about this man right here, Adrian Morejon. Like I said, he is added now to the All-Star team. So in addition to Manny Machado being elected the starter at third base, we've got Fernando, who's coming off the bench. We've got the bullpen trio now of Morejon, Adam, Suarez, all 3 making the All-Star team this year. In case you are not somebody who lives and dies by the day-to-day stats and metrics of all of this, here are the numbers right now for Adrian Morejon, and I think that this is great on a lot of levels. It's nice that he is a lefty that is doing this. It's nice that he's a San Diego project that we saw him come out the gate really strong, regress, be injured, couldn't fully figure it out, but always showed flashes. And now it ultimately seems that he has gotten entirely back on track. So he's a great story on that front. I don't know, he just really fits in line with being everything you want coming out of your bullpen at any point. Like, we've talked about him potentially even being moved to the closer role this year. Like, he is very much blossoming into a legitimate major league star caliber relief pitcher, which is awesome. And I love that. And that is really cool. And to now have 3 relievers, it's the first time that the Padres have done this. It's the first time it's been done in the National League. It's a little bit of a kind of vaguely historic thing. And I know that the All-Star game selections have meant less and less over the years. And especially with Mizorowski now from the Brewers playing 5 games in his rookie season and making it to the All-Star game. Maybe none of this means anything anymore, but if it does mean something, I think that we should celebrate it. And it's awesome that he is going to be added, that Morejon is added to the All-Star game. I want to talk then about just letting you guys know where we are at with Morejon. Maybe the double edge, the good, the bad here is we talk a lot about trying to potentially do stuff with picking up rental pieces, and the trade deadline is very close depending on when you are watching this video. But sometimes we also got to look at what's ahead in terms of guys that we might be losing as well. And I think Adrian Morejon is somebody who wants to stay in San Diego. I don't see this necessarily being something where it's going to be a massive issue, but here's where we are at with the contract. And I mean, talk about right time to have a career year and make the All-Star game if you're a player's advocate. He is 20. He is going to be 27 in an arbitration year before unrestricted free agency. And he will be somebody that I think maybe if the trade deadline we don't execute a ton on, people are maybe thinking, maybe the Padres internally thinking, okay, we got to save some cap money. We got to, not cap, maybe there is a cap. We got videos on that too now with Manfred making crazy statements. But, money that we maybe would otherwise spend on a starting pitcher or a left fielder or a catcher, something like that, might need to be allocated next year to retaining what is the best bullpen that we have maybe potentially ever seen in franchise history. Going to looking at the other All-Stars, Jason Adam is in a 1-year deal with the San Diego Padres right now. We got his numbers here for you. He is also having a career year. He fits as the lefty-righty different option setup-y guy for Suarez being the closer with Morejon and Adam being those 2. It made me start doing and this is definitely where I want to see names, bring names out of the woodwork in the comment section. But I played what really have been the best Padres bullpen eras games and names in my head. And the Padres, I think, largely have been spoiled with Hall of Fame caliber closers, both in terms of Like ones like Trevor that were here for the whole time and others that were only making pit stops here. But they have always had a good closer, and maybe we're skewed then on like what the importance and caliber of a great bullpen is. But you come up with like Hoffman and Donnie Wall and Maselli in the 90s. That was fire. There was, Gregerson, Adams, Bell, which was amazing. There, Ernesto Frieri was a name that came to mind, like that. Houston Street, Craig Kimbrell. There's been some names where it's like, okay, it didn't work out perfectly. Fernando Rodney was saving a couple of. We've had some elite closers. We've had some fun eras, but in thinking about having, even if it's a diminished award as an all-star thing, 3 all-stars. Like, I don't think we've had anything that comes into necessarily that level of talent at the same time, all performing at its peak. Kind of maybe not even entirely at its peak at the same time. If you look at Suarez's numbers this season, he seems to have gotten himself out of his spiral. But this is where we stand as a major league or National League leader in saves, but also a huge ERA compared to everybody else that is up at the top of that list. I think that maybe that is just going to be something that he's not going to make enough appearances as a closer to work that back down sub 2 before getting into the playoffs. So whatever, maybe just got to kind of ignore the ERA and appreciate the fact that he's back to getting saves and look at that. But so maybe call that adjusting for inflation and some numbers. Maybe you can adjust out of the 90s because of steroids and what I don't know. It gets the conversation going on name me really a better bullpen in franchise history. And so looking at that, knowing that we got those 3 guys plus between Berger and Kolek and Waldron and Vasquez, somebody is going to be pushed out of the starting rotation into the bullpen come playoff time because of King coming back, Darvish coming back. So looking at having that plus give me 2 other guys. Like we've had a couple. I'm sure some of you don't want Matsui. I'm sure some of you do want some guys. You want lefties, you want right. Like we can argue out the other details in terms of who rounds out that bullpen. But those 4 or 5 guys, to me, when you get into a playoff scenario and you've got to win 4 out of 7, 3 out of 5, something like that, you don't necessarily entirely per the new kind of baseball logic of throwing guys out there maximally situationally wise and 2 innings of this and 3.5 innings. Like to me, you can make the pieces work where if the offense is not going to score a ton, you can still get enough good pitching spread out across enough innings that I can be talked into. We'll get a couple of clutch hits from Manny and from Fernando and from Merrill, and a couple of guys will man up, and we can at least get NLCS, like lose to the Dodgers. And that's maybe pessimistic and nihilistic of me to say that ultimately we're going to lose to the Dodgers. Like I'm not trying to entirely view this as like, oh, good bullpen equals Padres are going to win the World Series. I have to be somewhat based in reality on that. Like if this team is never going to start fully hitting, you can't talk your way into any sort of championship. But I can project out where if you've got reliably just get us to the 6th and we can close out 3 games in a row, 2 games in a row. I mean, maybe it's going to tax everybody, but they can do it because they're this level of all-star player. I kind of like that for the way that the Padres starting pitching is set up. That looks like I can invest in that as a pitching overall staff and quality going into the playoffs. Let me know what you think on all this. Like I said, also let me know just drop some Padres relievers names from random eras that you guys like. And as always, if you could hit the subscribe button, it would be much appreciated. If not, no worries. Talk to you soon.